Riding Hell for Leather, Chapter 5. We stayed camped in Corydon, Indiana for 2 nights. The horses got much needed rest, and Mo and I cleaned tack, joked, laughed, and thought ahead. Neither one of us liked the look of things, but we stuck with the outfit until we couldn't. That was our decision. The morning of the second day the bugle called, troopers fell in, and the column headed north toward Salem and Palmyra. The column split, east wing and west wing. We were about 12 miles from Salem now, the biggest town in the county. I knew the place well. I'd grown up around Campbellsburg, about 10 miles west. Salem had a big town square with a stone courthouse half finished, scaffolding still on the walls. I wasn't looking forward to riding into that town. People would know me, and it wouldn't make me any friends. Mo and I were riding point. He took the right, I took the left. We stayed out 3/4 of a mile ahead of the column. We didn't run into trouble. When night fell, we would be close to Salem. We'd probably camp 5 or 6 miles south of town and wait until morning to ride in. We didn't know if there was any home guard there or not, but we'd find out soon enough. The more I looked at the horses, the more I worried about them holding out. The last thing I wanted was to be caught afoot in enemy territory. But if it came to that, I had friends in this country. Noon came and went, the afternoon dragged, and late in the day we passed Palmyra. I figured we were 8 miles south of Salem. We started looking for a camp. I heard Mo's turkey whistle and swung over to the right. We were marching with the eastern wing. The western wing was 5 miles out on the left. I found him in a cedar clearing, frogs stamping flies, and Mo pointed ahead. Nice place to camp up there. Farm pond. Water's not the cleanest, but we can boil it if we have to. Good ground. You want me to ride back and tell Morgan? Nah, I said. You stay here, keep eyes on it. I'll ride back till I hit the head of column or find another scout to take word in. Watch sharp. I swung Gypsy around and headed south. I hadn't gone a mile before the dust haze told me I'd found the head. The bugler rode up front, cheeks puffed like a bullfrog, blowing out of habit. The lead files straggled along, horses plodding, sweat streaking their hides. The smell of leather, powder, and tired animals hung heavy. I put Gypsy into a lope and came even with Morgan. He sat square in the saddle, brim low, and gave me the sharp look that meant, speak. Clearing ahead, I said. Pond there, room enough for camp. Water's muddy, but it'll hold the stock. Men can fetch creek water west for drinking. Morgan grunted. We'll stop. Horses'll take what they get. Men can boil what they need. He turned to his adjutant. Pass the word. Camp at the pond. Detail men to the creek. By the time I circled back, Mo was waiting, frog flicking flies. Figured they'd take it, he said as the first files pushed into the cedars. The place filled fast. Canvas stretched, arms stacked, picket lines strung along the pond's edge. Horses shoved muzzles into muddy water, snorting but drinking anyway. Men dropped packs and groaned like they'd laid down 10 miles more than they had. Fires cracked along the rise. Kettles of creek water boiled, coffee thick in the air. Somebody brought in a farm steer, rope looped around its horns. The beast bawled once before the butcher set to. By sundown, sides of beef hung from poles, and roasting meat joined the coffee. It lifted the men. 1,000 troopers with smoke curling from a dozen fires. Tin plates passed hand to hand. Salt was light, but nobody cared. Men carved strips with jackknives, washing them down with coffee. Laughter came easier, rough but warmer than I'd heard since Corydon. Mo sat gnawing a rib, grease on his fingers. Better than hardtack, he said. Better than shoe leather, I answered, and we both smiled. Morgan stalked the lines once, eyes sharp, then retired to his tent with staff and maps. The rest of us stretched under stars, bellies full for the first time in days. Crickets hummed, smoke drifted steady, and for an hour I let myself believe tomorrow's trouble could wait. As the sun bled down behind the sycamores, word filtered back. Scouts had ridden close to Salem and come back with news men loved. No breastworks, no trenches, no sign of home guard worth a damn. That word swept the camp faster than any bugle. Shoulders loosened. Tin cups clattered. Smoke smelled sweeter. Mo stretched on his blanket. Frog picketed close. No fight tomorrow, he said. That's what they say. I stirred the fire. If the town meant to stop us, they'd have shown by now. Troopers gathered in circles, cards flicking onto oilcloth. Wagers ran in buttons, cartridges, whatever coin was left. A banjo plucked thin notes. Someone sang. Even the green boys laughed without that tight sound in their throats. A butcher hauled ribs on a barrel stave, charred black outside, bleeding inside. Men dove with knives, tearing meat, grease on their faces. The air thickened with smoke, fat, and coffee. One night you're fighting dirt farmers behind a rail fence, I said. Next night you're full of beef and certain you'll walk into town like a parade. Men need it, Mo said. Can't ride on fear every mile. A night of no fight is worth more than feed. A cheer went up from a card game. Someone passed a bottle, and off-key singing rolled across the camp. Even Morgan's officers let it go. For that night, the war felt far off. The fire burned low. Men rubbed down tack, ran cloths through barrels, voices carried short. You think we'll see smoke in the square tomorrow? A trooper asked. Not a chance, another said. Scouts say Salem's soft. Folks'll be hiding under quilts. Or waiting with pitchforks. The first two laughed. Even pitchforks get heavy against 1,000 carbines, Mo said across the flames. True enough, I said. A fiddle started up. It sounded almost like peace. I unrolled my blanket, saddle for a pillow. Gypsy tugged at her rope, ears twitching. I patted her neck. Easy, girl. Just one more march. Mo stretched beside me, chewing beef. Sleep while you can. Sun'll drag us out early. The night passed without alarm. At first light, camp shook awake, the rustle of canvas, clank of iron, bitter coffee boiling. Morgan's scouts rode back in, mud on their boots, horses lathered. Road's clear, one called. No guard, no breastworks. Salem's open. That word swept the camp like wind. Men packed faster, voices lighter. No fight meant another march, but not another bleeding. I cinched Gypsy's girth. She sidestepped, then stood easy. I was patting her neck when a lieutenant rode up, reins creaking. His mount was an old white mare, ribs showing. His eyes locked on Gypsy with hunger. Fine stock you've got there, he said. Better than anything we've had since Kentucky. I nodded slow, not answering. Mo came out of the trees, leading Frog. The buttermilk dun stepped high, coat shining. The lieutenant's gaze snapped to him and stuck. He didn't say a word, but I saw the thought working. Mo caught it too. He swung into the saddle, grinned thin as a knife. The lieutenant tugged his mare around and rode off without comment. But we both knew it wasn't the last of it. We finished packing, fell in with the eastern wing. Hooves struck the pike, dust rose, and Salem waited ahead, roofs catching morning sun. They rode into Salem near noon, the square opening wide in the heat. Chimneys smoked, shutters were drawn, faces peered from doorways, curious, frightened, weary. Morgan swung onto the cobblestones and halted at the half-built courthouse. Officers fanned around him. Here's where we make our stand, he said. Set up headquarters. Quarterstaff and tent beside the courthouse. Flags went up, a table laid with ink and paper, the square filled with the low noise of camp in miniature. Orders came fast. Send parties to the mills and big stores. Collect $1,000 ransom from each. Take what you must for food. Break nothing that don't stop you eating tonight. Keep it tidy. We ain't here to burn a town. We're here to make a point. Lieutenants peeled off with men in squads. Some headed to mills on the river, others to warehouses and stables. Soon the square filled with the clank of barrels and the rumble of wagons. A farmer's pantry turned into brigade rations, barrels of flour and salted pork piled high. A few slipped into alleys and came back with eggs, fruit, and chickens under their arms. At the miller's door, officers dismounted. Words were sharp, then softer, then sharper again. A ledger came out, figures scratched. The miller's hands shook as he handed over coin and keys. Ugly arithmetic, but it was paid. By afternoon, the men streamed back with grain sacks, smoked hams, molasses jugs, even a few bottles of whiskey. Where discipline held, the food stacked neat. Where it frayed, pockets bulged, and tongues ran loose. Morgan's adjutants broke up one fight over bacon with rope and hard words. As dusk came, wagons circled the square. Fires sprang up. Men stood in knots, knives flashing, kettles hissing, smoke curling over the courthouse frame. Laughter rose, brittle but real. Morgan's tent glowed at the hub, officers bent over maps. We halted there. The town turned into a market and campground, the smell of meat replacing dust. Campfires licked at the edges of the square. For the first time since Corydon, Worry's teeth felt duller.